My brother, 41, became a foster father to a young boy 10 years ago. The child's father had passed away and his mother was in a rehab center. The assignment was supposed to be temporary. The foster worker said the young boy would probably be there for 6 months to a year. Instead, he ended up staying with my brother for 6 years. My brother did a ton for this kid during this time, well above and beyond requirements. He ensured the kid always had nice clothes, fun toys, got to eat what he wanted, took him on vacations, paid for expensive activities, everything. As 6 years passed, we all thought this child was a permanent addition to our family. Then, shortly after his 14th birthday, his mother was able to resume custody, and just like that, he was gone with almost no notice. I can't explain how devastated my brother was. He was beyond distraught. He thought of this kid just like a son, and then legally, they weren't anything to each other. He's 18 now and just started community college. My brother has a different foster child staying with him now. Even though life has gone on, I know my brother is still in pain. Recently, I ran into this now adult at the grocery store with his mom. He acted very happy to see me and introduced me to his mother as Auntie My Name. I said, "I'm not your aunt." He looked a little hurt and then tried to continue the conversation. We talked awkwardly for a couple of minutes, and then I finished my shopping. I told my brother about the awkward interaction later, and he said that I was a witch for no reason and should have just accepted the title gracefully as it cost me nothing. I disagree. I let this kid be my nephew for 6 years, and then I didn't see him again until now. So why should I have to let him call me his aunt when he hasn't been a member of our family for 4 years? My brother called me egotistical, but then he dropped it. I don't understand why I'm the bad guy. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. He was a kid. He didn't get a say in where he went or who he saw. That doesn't mean his relationship with your brother was any less genuine. That doesn't mean he still hasn't regarded your brother or yourself as family all this time. So basically, you publicly disowned your nephew because his mother cut your brother out of his life. This right here. My family did foster care for years, and my little brother was adopted. Foster families do not get a say in whether or not children stay with them. The case manager can decide to reunite the bio family at any given moment. What an awful thing to say to a child who had no control over his situation. And what a horrible thing to wreck your brother's chance of seeing him again. You might have destroyed any chance of him trying to find your brother to form a relationship. You should be extremely ashamed of yourself. And if the mother cut your brother off by saying things like, "They're not your real family," OP just now confirmed that crappy idea. In the UK, up north anyway, we call all our parents' friends auntie whatever. It's a term of respect. OP, you crushed a kid who still thinks of you as an aunt for a system that's not his fault, on behalf of your brother, who still has a relationship with the kid and doesn't share your resentment. Seriously, what? I'm sorry, was he an independent adult with a job, car, and a choice? You're acting as if everything he did was carefully constructed to be a personal insult to you. You're being selfish and only thinking of how it affected you. How do you think this boy felt when he was taken away? In your own words, he was treated well and had a family. Do you honestly believe that he was laughing like a villain at you and your brother after he left? You were hurt. His hurt will blow yours out of the water. My husband lives in his office. He's in there more than any other room around the house. My husband likes arts and crafts and ultimately DIY things. But the issue is that he does messy stuff with the kids, and I'm always the one to clean up the stains. So, for example, my husband likes painting, and the kids like painting too. So instead of doing this outside or doing non-messy things, he does the messiest things and doesn't clean it. But the worst thing is, he does all this in all the places that I spend the most time in. For example, in the kitchen. I own a bakery down the street. I bake lots of cakes before I use anything in the bakery, and I don't like baking cakes with gross paint stains all over my counter, kitchen walls, etc. Because he doesn't clean it, I cannot get it out. I spent hours in that kitchen, and I would like it to be used as a kitchen. I've had at least 10 talks with him about this. I've explained and have given him multiple ideas to do what he wants in different scenarios. Just stay out of my area. I would be fine if he tried to clean it, but he doesn't. Every time I broach the conversation, it's like me talking to a wall. He'll say, okay, I won't do it again. But by next week, I'm trying to get more stains out of the table, cabinets, backboards, etc. The last straw was me sitting him down for the 11th time and him saying that I was dramatic and the kitchen is a normal place to do arts and crafts, and it's like I don't want our kids to have fun. Why can't he respect where I spend so much time? I've never let the kids go in and mess up his space or draw on his desk. Heck, I don't even let them use his computer for games or anything. So I have this white film that mimics his office wall that I had extra of, and I used it while he was at work. I put it up on his wall so that the wall didn't get dirty, and it worked. I can admit that this wasn't the most mature thing to do, honestly. I went the mature route 11 times. We wrote on the wall, which looked like the back of my kitchen walls, table, etc. He came home, saw it, and was angry, and came to yell at me about what we did to his office. I played innocent and said that we were doing some arts and crafts. He was angry and went on a rant about how important his office is. That's his job, and he can't have little kid marks everywhere. He said I was an immature idiot for doing what I did, and now he'll have to pay to get it fixed. I walked into his office and took down the paper I had in place, showing his clean wall. I told him that if he didn't like having his stuff disrespected, then don't do it to mine. He's now doing it outside, but hasn't even looked my way since. I told my mom and she agreed with him, saying it was innocent and cute for them to share these moments. Am I the idiot? Nope, not the idiot. You didn't damage his space as he did yours. You proved his point, and now he's angry because you're right. It sucks to have your space and work disrespected. Also, who doesn't clean up after themselves? Men think women are intimacy partners and incubators. Oh, Pete, stop letting him get away with it. Unfortunately, even your dramatic cry for attention let him get away with it. I won't go in the kitchen until it's spotless. Watch what happens to our income when I'm paying rent for a bakery that can't sell cakes. Sabotaging yourself and your livelihood to make a point to an idiot husband is not what I would describe as a sterling idea in any context. Tell your mother that next time, she can invite them over to use her living room and see how much she likes it. He needs to put his big boy pants on and learn to adult. He's acting like a child himself and teaching your children disrespect. Just doing bonding activities with your kids isn't parenting. My husband and I have a toddler daughter together. She is our one and only, and I was done after her. I got sterilized earlier to prevent falling pregnant again. My in-laws are unhappy about this because my husband is their only child. They've said I was too rash in deciding because I'm young, 30, and that I should think about my daughter and them and how a bigger family's always better when you have the choice. They told me it was unfair, that I was wrong. They deserve more grandkids. That's when I told them what I did. For context, our daughter was a much wanted and very planned baby, but the first 18 months of her life were the worst of mine. She was diagnosed as being a high-needs baby, and that's underplaying it. She never stopped crying, and there was no clear cause. We were in and out of the ER and pediatrician's offices. We never got a break because nobody could stand to babysit her with the crying. My in-laws were around, and they would leave because it bothered them so much to hear her like that. A few times they would tell me to stress less, but I couldn't leave the house with her without getting looks or comments from strangers. We were spending so much money taking her to the hospital, the doctor, to try to figure something out. We paid for tests. We paid for all kinds of different formulas and other things suggested. It was exhausting. It got so bad my husband lost his job because he was showing up to work exhausted and unable to function. I was unable to function. I would hear her cries in my sleep, and I ended up needing therapy because for another year, I would fall asleep and wake up in tears. After all, it still haunted me. We're not sure how or why it stopped, but thank God it did because I was hanging on by a thread. After our daughter, though, I couldn't stand the thought of experiencing that again. Nobody could tell us what it was, why it happened, just that there are documented cases of some babies like that. It's not a comfort to me or us. My in-laws don't go after my husband like this. I guess because he's not the one who sterilized himself. But I said what I did because it's true. They were no help to us, and they don't owe us that. But with them demanding more grandkids from me, they should be willing to face up to the fact that they were no help when we needed it the most. They're mad. My husband told them I was right, but they claim I had no right to say that to them. I never normally would, which is making me doubt myself. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If they wanted more grandkids, they should have had more children. Your decision to have children is between you and your husband. They're your husband's parents, and therefore he should be intervening and telling them to quit the crap. The more complaining they do towards you, the more of a wall between you and them they build, brick by brick. Everyone knows hostility towards the parents is the best way to get more grandkids and more access to existing grandkids. This made me laugh. Of course, they were okay with only one child, but their son should have a whole brood. She's not the idiot, of course, but I hope she doesn't tell them that they should have had more kids. The way they said bigger families are better if you have the choice makes me think they wanted more and couldn't have them. Maybe pregnancy loss, infertility, or something. People are so darn hypocritical that a brick flying into their faces won't faze them. It truly grinds my gears that in-laws think they're entitled to someone else's uterus because they want grandkids. Like, what is that? How can anyone think that's acceptable? They need to stay in their lane. Your reproductive choices are none of their business. I, 27 female, have been a nanny for the same family for about 6 months now. It's a toddler baby girl who's the sweetest baby ever. I thought the family was really nice and that we had a good working relationship until yesterday. I always take the baby on walks, either around the neighborhood or we walk down to this cool shopping center where they have a little fountain and a bubble tea shop we like to hang out at. There are toys and games and she always has fun there. We walked down to the bubble tea shop yesterday and we were playing as usual. We're usually out for like an hour when it started raining. It drizzled a bit, so we went inside the shop to wait it out before walking back, and then it started pouring, like storming. It wasn't good. It rained for so long, so I texted the mom saying, "Hey, it's raining really bad, so we're just gonna wait it out, but we're at the bubble tea shop." She told me it was almost the baby's nap time and that I needed to head home, now like usual. I asked her if she had looked out the window to see how bad it was raining, and she said yes. Baby has a cover for their stroller, she'll be fine. Please head back. I told her the baby had a cover, but I didn't have an umbrella or jacket, and I'll get soaked and I'll have to finish out my shift soaking wet. I asked if she or her husband could just come pick us up, and she said it's my job to do what she says. I told her I was not walking back in the rain. After an hour, yes, it kept raining, her husband came and picked us up, apologizing, saying he was sleeping and didn't know we were out here in the rain. When we got back, Mom screamed at me, saying how dare I not bring her baby home when she told me to, and accused me of kidnapping. Dad said she was being dramatic but didn't really do much. She threatened to fire me and told me not to come in today and that we'll discuss everything Monday. Was I wrong for not coming back? It was pouring. I didn't want to sit in soaked clothes for hours. My hair would get ruined. I didn't want to get sick. Like, there were so many reasons I didn't want to be in the pouring rain. Plus, I didn't feel that safe. I guess if I'm wrong, I'll apologize Monday. But my boyfriend said she's being unreasonable and can't fire me for that. I feel I should quit. I don't know. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She is being dramatic and ridiculous when she accuses you of kidnapping the baby. You took the child out with her permission. Plus, how many kidnappers let the child's parents know exactly where they are and ask if they can pick them up? If the mother were truly concerned about her child, she would have picked you both up, woken her husband up, and told him to pick you both up, or organized a taxi. I can only conclude that she had no real concern for the child's safety and was on a weird mama bear power trip. The stroller may have a cover, but the baby could have still gotten wet and sick, which I'm sure the mom would blame you for. While you work for them, that doesn't mean you have to do whatever they tell you. It must not endanger you or the kids you're caring for. Maybe work until you find another job. Put in a notice for them to find another nanny. Agree. I wouldn't want to keep working for her after that. If mommy has the time to harass the nanny, she has time to raise the child. This woman sounds unhinged. to the point where even the dad seems afraid of her. Start looking for new work now. I, 26 male, have a stepsister, 23. We were never close. She would lie and try to get me in trouble, but my dad and her mom would always catch on. She tried ruining a few of my school projects because she was jealous that I was doing really well in school and she was struggling. She even went so far as to try to hide my acceptance letter to my dream university. So I tried to distance myself from her as much as possible because she's not family. Everyone on my side of the family does not recognize her as a family member either. This does not make me an idiot. She's a stranger, and I hate her. Anyways, I'm doing really well for myself. I got lead engineer early on in my career because I never missed an opportunity to work overtime. I've never missed a single day, been late, or needed help with work. Instead, I was the one helping. I earned 6 figures. I moved out of our apartment complex and in with my cousin into a new home we now own. My relatives and my dad, whom I still have contact with, visited a few times. A very specific part of the house is my flag of Italy. My stepsister found my house because of this detail. All the houses look very similar. Apparently, Dad kicked her out, told her my address, and told her to live with me. She knocked on my door asking to stay a few nights and for some money, which I refused. She kept persistently knocking. I asked her to stop. She said she was my sister and said, I have every right to stay on this property. I threatened to get law enforcement involved to remove her from the premises. She was so angry that she tried throwing a rock at my home country's flag. I was so mad. She left screaming and is now staying with her aunt from her mom's side. I've been getting angry calls from her side of the family, to which I've had to block a few numbers. My friends and family, Dad's side, told me how I handled the situation was too nice. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. A stepsister is not a half-sister, so you're referring to someone you share no DNA with, which means she isn't your sister, and you have no obligations. And by the way, Dad owes you an apology for sending her your way. Not that OP would have any obligations if they share DNA. I'm curious if OP's dad sent her to him, or if that was just another one of her lies. The other family members giving you grief for not letting her stay at your place have just graciously made themselves available for her to stay at their place. Problem solved. She lives in a strange universe, with herself in the center. She's 23. Time to start acting like a grown-up. She's not entitled to anything you have, and certainly not entitled to any kindness from a brother she did her best to bring down. Family's calling you because they don't want that luggage of a burden. So keep blocking their numbers and get on with your life.